Does anyone remember this video I made, let's see, 4 months ago about these visual errors? I thought it'd be a good idea to actually go one by one and just fix these guys up and show you why the errors happen and what we can do to fix them. Even though these videos are basically 95% joke and 5% hey, this is an actual issue. What I'm going to do is just go one by one on these videos and look at each issue and go into Hammer here and show you how I would fix it. And then at the end I'll do the full render of the map and take a look at it. Alright, so starting off, we've got these textures which aren't aligned in certain places at least. Yeah, like here. This one's pretty easy. Come into a clean version of the map, grab the face edit, and then on these textures that are unaligned, like say this one, we can just simply shift them over. So for this one, the Y, you can see it slowly move there, just like to there. And line it up. I think that's about good. And then we'll take this one, since there's no lines it has to line up here or here besides these two. We'll also edit those up. Just like that. Now this one is unaligned, I see, so what we could do is rotate 90, and that should help us push this a bit over. So just like that, line it up nicely, good there and good there, and now we got that line. And you would go through and do that for everything that wasn't lined up. I don't think it was a lot, maybe this one too. And I'm not going to do it on all of these, I'll just show you what we could do, what kind of the thought process and a lot of this would be going through. And just like that. So that's how you do that one. Let's keep watching. Let's see what I got here. Sewer bricks not aligned. So again, this is just making sure your textures are better aligned. Now, to be fair, it's pretty hard to line up displacements like this that are all angled and whatnot. Again, the videos are mostly jokes. I think there is maybe a few improvements we could do here. Like for this, take these all and line up this line to this line, like that. And again, it's hard to do it on displacements that are going all over the place. So yeah, as you can see, stuff like this. But we could also mess with, you know, the texture scale if we really want to. You can see it probably is slightly too large. Let's try like 2, 4. And just notice this kind of hooks upwards. So we could probably say it's like right there. And yeah, you just kind of have to mess around with that until things align perfectly. Of course, you'd have to do that for the whole thing. Ooh, this one. Yeah, so the overlay's cut in half. This one's a really simple fix. Just go to there, double click on our overlay, and you'll see the brush faces, hit quick, or pick, and boom, there it goes. Pretty easy. What's up next? Ah, the dev texture. So yeah, pretty easy here too. It's not on this red side, but it is on blue. Maybe one thing I didn't mention was, this is annoying, but this trim doesn't actually go all the way across. We can just slap the new texture there. If we wanted this to go all the way across, we'd have to come into here and split up this brush, which I don't want to do. But if you really had to, so we would take these brushes, line them up here, then we'd use the cut tool or the clipping tool here and go across and again there, and put the textures back in place. Then it's always nice to just make sure these textures we can't see are no draw, and there we go on that part. Again, you can do it here. Just do be careful if these are solid and not funk details. You probably don't want to be splitting them up. These ones are, so we're okay. Unless you're starting to hit like T-junction errors because you have too many, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, that's how you would fix that and put the dev texture back. So let's go to the next one. Tracks don't connect, okay. This is on red side only, I believe. Yeah, again with that other overlay, we just extend it out and then try and align these the best we can. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, so that one's done. Oh yeah, this one and this one. Cool. So what is causing this, right? So if you look at this prop, you can see that the center of where lighting is probably inside of here. which of course is just pitch black. So what we need to do is grab what's called an info lighting and give it a name, so pipe light 01 or whatever you need. And we put it kind of in the center of where this is just sticking out. So roughly about, you know, here or so. We go into here, and in the lighting origin, you just select that pipe light, and then you do the same thing here. And I put it in the center of where that is, and change the name to pipe light 02, and there you go. Actually, there's also this one on blue. So let's do that same fix. I actually don't know why this one isn't doing that properly, but since these props are kind of right next to each other, you can use the same info lighting for both of them. Do the same thing here. There, that's that. Unlit rock. This looks like it's on red. So what we can do here, this is another thing you can do, although it's not the best thing to do all the time, is you just go in here, you go to disable shadows and just put yes. You can also do this one if the other one doesn't work, basically caused by it projecting a shadow onto itself. So say this rock is, so you just disable shadows entirely on it. That's another way to do it, but it does fix it. And these rocks are pretty lit up anyway, so it's not really going to change that. This one, again, we can do it both ways. Just for simplicity, I'm going to do the disable shadows one because these ones are pretty lit up. All right, so what's next? Unlit curves. Ooh. So as far as I know, this is caused by the displacement that's inside of it, as well as these being details. So we could try a few things. One thing that might not be the easiest to fix a lot of this stuff, what I'm just going to do is pull the displacement back to about here. It's also going to get rid of these issues where the grass is going straight up through that concrete. So yeah, we just pull it back right to there. Unlit pipes. Oh, and even. Let's go to one of the Intel rooms. Let's do red. Of course, this is easy enough on these ones. Move them over a bit. So Control G to make sure this is back. Need to ungroup this first. And then group this so that our transforms are in the right place. Snap it over. There we go, it's back in place. Let's look at which ones are unlit. Looks like there and there. This also might be caused by the block light here, so no light can actually get up through there, and so it's casting a shadow. So what I'm going to do is that same trick with the lighting. Right here, and there's that. Floating and glitchy fences. Let's head over there. Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. A bit of a weird thing about Double Cross is this texture here is, for whatever reason, pushed up a little bit. Pretty easy to just pull these down. So that's what I'm going to do. There we go. We can push these down now so that the other stuff isn't floating. And there we go. That one's fixed. Ooh. That's not good. On this fence, let's see what side's this on. This is on red side. So in this case, we're actually just gonna disable the shadows because that's what's causing it to begin with. Shadows, so that one's fixed. Floating handrails. Yeah, these are the most annoying thing that I run into. Not because they matter that much, but because it's in every single map that Valves makes. All right, so what to do about these? Shift them down a little bit because they're not actually on grid. You see this line here is where a hammer unit is, and once we hit this, it says 0.25 and it gets snapped back to that grid. So do the same for this one, and you do this for any of these throughout your maps. Another pipe issue, so let's fix that quick. More pipe issues. Again, I'll fix this. So again, issues with the shadows on the guardrails. We're going to just turn shadows off from these. Yes, or at least they aren't floating. More unlit pipes. So one thing I don't think I mentioned was on these parts, kind of off. So see in the face edit sheet, it says UV vectors -1, 1. and it says world and face, but we go to this, it says world and face again, but it's 1 and -1. All we got to do is switch those two values around. So -1 and 1. And boom, they're lined up. And so that fixes that. Glitchy windows. And this is a func detail, I believe. It is. Func details that are clipping into the other parts. But we're just going to kind of reshape those. Make sure they're not clipping as bad. Just pull them both down by 1 and then extend the outer parts. You got to be careful if you're using just this part. They have this sort of slanted area. If you pull it down, it's also going to pull the slant down. So what you need to do is hit the vertex tool, select them, and then pull them down. And that avoids that. Now we still have this issue happening here. So what we could do is pull these over by 1 or 2 or whatever. Since they're details, as far as I'm aware, you don't really need to have them on grid, and you can just extend them. Just like that, and extend this side piece too. Although it has the angled portion on it. So what I'm going to do for that is grab the vertex tool again, but this time I'm going to click this yellow dot and click Control F to split it. And then push that to there, push this up there, put that there. So that gets rid of a lot of issues there, and then you just do that for the rest of it, so I'm going to do that. So I did realize while going here that if I did that, it would kind of put this little notch here, which does bug me. Puts that little notch there, so instead I'm going to go like this and do the same on that side. Now we got no issues on this window, and you just do the same thing here, or we could just select all these, delete, copy and paste these over, make sure they're centered, and then make sure we turn them back into func details with Control T, and there we go. So now these aren't glitchy no more. My favorite, little gap in the spawn door. So unfortunately we can't really do too much without having to edit the model here, but since these are already prop dynamics, we can just scale it up a little bit, so by 0.01, and now it seals it off. Just be careful, because when you're scaling models, the collision doesn't always scale with it, so just be careful with that. For this instance, there's no actual physics on here, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's a pretty easy way to fix that one without having to fully redo the walls and whatnot. And then the last one we got, the floating parts in the ravine. Yeah, so if we go down here, it looks normal, and it looks normal when you're seeing it from above, but there's actually this big old brush called a func illusionary. So without editing this, of course, we could just extend this, or we could put a block here. So it's gonna go like this and make a block at those dimensions, so it's sitting on something. And we're gonna use that same dev black texture and make sure it's the right height. Then I'm gonna turn it into a detail. Now when you come down here, nothing's floating anymore. You can see that black. Another thing you could do is just put a clip brush, a player clip brush, going all the way across so that your player can't actually fall past and see that. That's another option you could do. A nice tool for this is just using Control C and then going to Edit, Paste Special, Paste 1, and start at center of original, which is paste in place. This will put it exactly on top, and we just go to the face edit and turn it into a player clip. And actually, now that I think of this, this should probably be block bullets 2, because you'll be a ragdoll at that point. Just make sure to use block bullets 2 and not 1, because this cuts new leaves, and we don't want that. We want block bullets 2 instead. Just like that, so no one should fall past that. And if you want to be safe, you can even shift it up a little bit. One last thing I didn't mention in that original video was this pipe also had those issues. It's actually this one here, because the center of the bounding box is like right here, and also this pipe is slightly off. And that concludes that. I'm going to run this map with all those changes, and then I'll show off everything that we did. Alrighty, so we ran this, only took a minute, no errors. So let's check out the changes here. So I'm going to be skipping anything like the texture shifting we did over here, because, well, you already saw it. So I'm just going to show stuff to do with lighting and that sort of thing. It's probably also worth noting that because I didn't run this on full, there's going to be some lighting issues that you wouldn't get if you just ran on fast, which is what I did. As well as there's no cube maps. So these are good now. Let's actually check down here. This is good. So let's check this grease overlay, which is good now, as well as this part that was pretty much black before. While we're here, we can check out this rock that I turned off. I didn't turn off this one, so I guess you could see the difference. So the big issues were these pipe lights, which are very good now. So yeah, this isn't working, and I've tried a few times different ways. It's just going to have to be. It is worth noting, though, that if we go to blue, that this lamp was probably removed for that exact reason, along with our pipe here. I guess just for fun, let's make sure there's no crack here in the spawn door. And there's not. Alright, so let's jump on in. And we don't go past that border, so we're good. And yeah, I'll probably do this once a week, just like the Unplayable series I've been doing. Just going over the maps that I've done and, well, fixing them.